What's going on, everybody? This is Coach Burk, and I'm here today with your daily dose. Today, we're going to be talking about bad advice. Come on, somebody. Bad advice. How many of you have ever had bad advice? Come on. We're going to talk about that. We're going to jump into some scripture real quick, and then we're going to dive right into this. So this comes from James. This is the theme verse for this entire month, and it comes from James 4, verse 8. James 4, verse 8. This is what it says. Come near to God, and he will come near to you. Come on, somebody. So let me ask you this question one more time. How many of you have ever received bad advice? Come on, let me see your hands. Come on. All right. How many of you have ever acted on that bad advice and it got you into some major trouble? Let me see your hands. Come on. Yeah, exactly, right? I'm the king of getting the wrong advice, right, from somebody and running with it, right? You could ask my wife. She's like, why, you know? So I'm going to give you a little bit of a story from the Bible real quick, and then we're going to dive right into this. I'm going to give you a story about two kings. One was named Rehoboam. The second was named Jeroboam. How would you like to have those names back in the day? Hey, Rehoboam, right? Come on, somebody. Rehoboam and Jeroboam, right? And these two kings were the first kings to lead a divided kingdom in Israel. At the time, Israel was one kingdom under King Solomon, and it ended up dividing. And these were the two kings that ended up leading the divided Israel, right? So King Solomon, his son, was Rehoboam. He was the natural successor who was going to end up leading, right? Because of the royal blood, right? He was the son of King Solomon. And then he would end up ruling the southern kingdom of Israel, right? And then you have another king by the name of Jeroboam. And he was the son of one of Solomon's chief officials, right? And he would end up ruling the northern kingdom. Now, this kingdom was divided into the northern and southern part. So the southern part, called Judah, how many of you ever heard that? Judah, yeah, which continued to be ruled by the lineage of David, or David's family, right? And it includes the tribe of Judah, yeah, and Benjamin, right? That was the southern kingdom. The northern kingdom, called Israel. How many of you have ever heard of Israel? Come on, somebody. And that included the other 10 tribes. Remember the 12 tribes of Israel? One had Judah and Benjamin. That was the southern. The northern one had the other 10 tribes. And with the kingdom on the brink of division, right? And breaking off, it was one big kingdom. And right before it divided, Rehoboam does the right thing, right? He was Solomon's son. Remember, Rehoboam was the natural successor to be king, and he did the right thing. There's rumblings. There was this tension, and it was looking like it was going to divide. So he did the right thing by asking experienced, godly elders for their advice. Come on, somebody. Have you ever been in a situation where you needed some godly, sound advice, right? And you sought those people out to get the mind of God, right? The intentions of God in your life. And so he did that. And he should have followed their godly advice. Rehoboam asked these guys, told them what was going on, and said, I need some advice. They gave him some godly advice, and the advice was this, that he needed to serve his people. He needed to serve his people. And the kingdom, I think if he would have done that, would have stayed united. But the truth is, he didn't do that, right? The truth is, I think at times, we all have heard the voice of God, and then we ended up doing things that we shouldn't have done. Come on, God gave us some advice, God gave us some direction, and we're like, yeah, but I'm gonna still do my own thing. Come on, come on. How many of you have done that before? You've done your own thing. God's trying to keep you out of a jam, keep things from falling apart, and he's directing you and giving you some spiritual and godly advice, and we still end up doing our own thing. Come on. Maybe we didn't make golden calves. Maybe we didn't treat people bad or inhumanely. Maybe we didn't sin in the fact of something just outrageous, right? But we knew what we should have done, and we didn't do it, even when God spoke into our lives, right? So this is what I want you to write down if you're taking notes. Big decisions have big consequences. Big decisions have big consequences, right? So when Rehoboam neglected to listen to the elders, come on, Israel's united kingdom, the kingdom that was strong, the kingdom that was there, it became divided, right? Because he listened to some other friends, some young friends, some young advisors, right? The country broke out into civil war, and the books record the history of the two kings, the history of the two capitals, and the history of two religions being formed. Come on, somebody. His decision was catastrophic for the kingdom of Israel. You know, this passage caused me to really begin to reflect on my own life of how many times I've needed to get godly advice to make decisions, and how many times I have not heeded the godly advice, and it turned out it was just devastating. Things didn't go well at all. Come on. How many of you ever had friends give you advice and you say, and you go to somebody because maybe it was the advice you know, but you didn't stick to it. So you wanted to try to get somebody that kind of gave you advice that kind of leans more towards the way you were wanting or what you were thinking to go that direction. And then most of the time, it does not work out well. Come on, somebody. So I want you to reflect on a couple of things. Then we're going to break up into some small groups. Here's some questions I have. Who do you get wise counsel from? Who do you get wise counsel from? And here's the second part to that. Are you willing to trust and listen and act on their advice? Are you willing to trust and act on their advice? We're going to break up into some small groups real quick, and just know this, that you may not be a ruler over a kingdom. You may not be a king or a queen, but your choices and the advice that you receive, it matters. It matters. It could drastically change somebody's life. It could change the trajectory of your life. And so we're going to talk about that today. We're going to break up into some small groups real quick. Don't take bad advice. Hey, I love you guys. I'm glad you're here. We'll talk to you soon.